All right, I am here, and I'm going to be continuing screwdrivers. Today, I have an idea for something I want to build, and it's going to be based on what we built previously yesterday with our propeller car, or rather 2 days ago. The Whirlwind Mark 1. So I was thinking about it, and I realized this design is actually quite interesting. Now, we can adapt this idea for so this whole design came from this. The propeller car came from this design, right? On screen. And you can clearly see if you look at that and then you look at this, you'll see that we basically took the idea and put it horizontal. We took the vertical idea, put it horizontal, and then strapped another planetary gear on it. These could be made into a 2-pin. I do realize that. Now, if we take this idea and we make it into a quadcopter, right? So we take this and then go back to the quadcopter, the Mayfly, which was what originally inspired this design. We could get something pretty interesting. So just to be clear, these are rotating in a synchronized fashion, right? They are never occupying the same space, although they are rotating in opposite directions. And if they were to be rotating in the same direction, then they would collide with one another, right? There's no way to have two rotors in this position where they rotate in the same direction. So my idea is I want to take this and I want to build upon our quadcopter. That's my general idea. How that's going to work out, I do not know, but I think it's going to be worthwhile. So I thought about it, and the only problem with the design is going to be the diagonal, right? The distance from this point to a hypothetical point right here, where there's another blade going like up and down. So we're going to probably need to separate this out by about 2, but these should still be able to occupy the same places, just to a lesser degree. And I'll mess with that for a bit. I'm going to entertain that idea due to what I learned with the Mayfly. I suspect we can work on taking the same idea, just starting from 1. Everything else is going to need to be changed. So the goal is going to be the most compact. Another thing I want to explore is the ability to make a diagonal. And I don't think there is an easy way to make a diagonal there's the laser cut 45, right? But this doesn't actually have a hole in the other side, right? And I suspect that there's a reason for that. I don't know if there's anything else in the game. There's the branch inclined corner, the branch 45. I may have to try to use something like that. I don't think so. I don't think so. It's going to be a little bit too tough. And as far as I know, axis, the 9 axis is 4.5. The 9 beam is 9. So the beams weigh twice as much as the axis, right? That is confirmed. So wherever possible, we want to use beams rather than axis. Now, the hardest thing to understand is we have this point here. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because these are 5 wide, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the center. So from here, 6 points out. That means that from this direction, one, two, three, four, five, six. Mario, welcome back. How are you doing? Good to see you. I think this is one too high. Yes, it is. Well, in that case, not too difficult to fix. Yeah, see, this needs to be moved. It doesn't like having 2 hinge connectors next to one another. Oh, no, that's okay. Interesting. Trust, Smaley dude, welcome. Now, it's really going to come down to the diagonal. And that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Like, if you have this, oh, can you not make the camera go perfectly full down? No, I think this is pretty much as flat as, no, see that when you're looking straight down, right? Like as far as perfect, I'm pretty sure this is not straight down, right? We're not talking like a full 90-degree looking straight down. Because if I look at that pin in the center of my screen, see how you can see the side of it? Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. The diagonal is going to be the problem. And that's going to come out to like over here. And the problem is the diagonals, the propellers on either side of one another are going to be rotating in the same direction, right? These two are going to be rotating in opposite directions. Which means that this actually needs to be reversed. Make them all the same color. There we go. What was that clear color again? There, 30. So yes, that is the main problem. We're gonna need to translate this out another 2 even, I think, yeah. And choosing the position, what I'm doing right now is like the core of the structure. Once we have the position set, then it's just a matter of duplicating, and that's easy. Like repetition is like whatever. But getting the core position down first is what I'm most interested in. And if this works, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So as for the diagonal, I think that extra 2 spaces of separation are going to be what we're looking for. And as for like the core powertrain of this design, like this is not going to change. This is not the complicated part of the build, right? The complicated part of this build is knowing exactly what distance and position we can place the fan blades. And there is an ideal position, and that is what we are currently working on figuring out, because once I figure that out, we're good. Would you ever play Car Bricks? Car Bricks. Redston, welcome. Apologies, I did not welcome you to the stream. Car Bricks. Is it on Steam? I assume you're talking about a game, right? Yeah, I don't see it on Steam. I know that there are games like Stormworks, Scrap Mechanic. There are a lot of games in this genre. Yeah, so these need to be rotating in opposite directions. So this needs to be space and left control. We know that, right? We know that. Because this is rotating this way. This is rotating this way. Clockwise, counterclockwise. Left one, clockwise. Right one, counterclockwise. I'm going to immediately upload this to the shop because every time I press escape, I am just mentally prepared to see my entire build just disappear before my eyes. And the only way that I know is to peg it to the Steam Workshop. You can call it whatever you want. But as long as you just upload it to the Steam Workshop, worst case scenario, if it gets just disappeared, you can just re-get it from the Steam Workshop. Carbricks is my game, so just wondering what attracts you to screwdrivers. I've never played Scrap Mechanic or Trailmakers, and that's awesome if that's a game you're working on. I would be potentially interested in checking it out. I assume with the name Carbricks, I assume it's in the same genre, right? I'm gonna make this W and S, or S and W for space and space W, left control S, and then I'm gonna use my controller to make sure we have this set up properly. No, we have. How does that make sense? They're both rotating in the same direction, but I have the motors. I have the motors set to opposite directions. What? S and W, W and S. See, this is see, in hindsight, I'm like, was I being freaking poo brain? Like, no, there's some. See, now they're going backwards, so we just need to flip them. The fact, just to clarify, the fact that these are both the same, there's like one of them is flipped or something, but there's no way to tell whether a motor's flipped or not. Like there needs to be like, oh, a red side and a green side, or just something, because man, that is confusing. Yeah. All right, we need to switch both of these. Under major rework at the moment. Sweet. Just trying to make it better, to make it more fun. Sweet. Awesome. Yeah, I actually worked on a game very briefly in Godot 4, which is like a top-down space physics style attempt at like Newtonian style physics, where like in a lot of space games you'll notice that oh, we made a walker. It's walking. The game is made in Godot. Nice. Yeah, Godot 4, with the recent update to Godot 4, they did a good job. We have made a walker. We tried to make a quadcopter, and we made a walker. We have one small step for men. No, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. Yeah, so that works the way I want it to. Now we just mirror this whole thing. But the problem is there's no way to measure, right? Like if I put in a hypothetical spot this thing right here, and we mirror it on this side right here, are the fan blades going to hit? Is that distance when this rotates, is that distance going to be far enough? And we're going to find out. I did space this out by 2. So we're going to find out. As to how to connect this, that is another question that must be answered. I think we do, well, this has to be a peg. No, I think 3 peg. No, then that doesn't even, at that point, that doesn't even make sense to do that. The 3-pin versus the 3-axis, they're the same weight. So using a pin is 1.5, using an axis is 1.5. So it doesn't matter. The thing that matters is the turn connector, which is another 2. We don't like that. We don't like that extra 2. But hold on. If I Yeah, but this whole thing rotates. This block right here cannot be occupied. I think we just kind of like brute force it. We're gonna need so I'm also, this is why I'm like very careful about the spacing. I think we're gonna have to shift it over one more. Or we take the risk and shift it over to the right, back to the right. We take the risk on the horizontal. See, that's already, to me, seeming pretty risky. So what's either going to happen is we just make it, or the tips of the wings just collide. Yeah, I think we risk it. I think we do risk it. Just because if I don't risk it and then we get to that point, the alternative is we realize, oh, I could have moved this over one more. Right? And then I probably rebuild it anyway. I have the wrong thing selected. But yeah, to answer your previous question, Redson, what attracts me to screwdrivers over scrap mechanic or trail makers, are if we're gonna be very honest, is the fact that it's free, it's novel, and I really enjoy games like this. Like, if you look at my streams from like a year ago, Kerbal Space Program 2, I streamed Kerbal Space Program 2 for like, I have a lot of hours streaming Kerbal Space Program 2. Surprisingly, screwdrivers in terms of playtime is actually coming up to that point. But those are the main reasons. And I just also genuinely enjoy building games. Like, there are many games where you like destroy stuff and shoot at stuff. And I like games where you build things. It's relaxing. Like right now, I'm jumping back and forth from Screwdrivers and The First Descendant. Two games that pretty much only share the similarity of they're in 3 dimensions. Yeah, so this is going to be very close. I don't know. I really don't know. I think at this point, we just need to build it out. I need to just test it. There's no way to measure it. If I could measure it, I would measure it. I don't think it's gonna. So if I place, just to be clear about what I'm trying to do, let's just do it, right? One, two, if I put that here, 1, 2. Yeah. Just using a connector is probably what we. Yeah, there we go. That's not gonna fit. Just flat out, you can. It's gonna be very close. It's gonna be within 1 block. Crammy, welcome. To answer your question a few streams back on my record build in Mud Bowl, yeah, that's fine. I only do. That's awesome that you have a record build at Mud Bowl. I only do workshop. Like, I don't do raw file transfers, and I'm sure you can understand. But that is very awesome that you have a record build, and I completely understand why you wouldn't want to share it. That's completely fair and valid as well. Almost feel like having these. Well, no, it would have to be mirrored, so they would go inward, right? Let's just build this out really quickly, and then we can get a nice, good look at it. It's the great thing about this design is it's not complicated. the best designs are never complicated. So yeah, those are going to run into one another. Almost certain. It's going to be within one block. I'm going to build it out. We'll test it. But we're going to find the limit right now. Hopefully we can get a good look at what I'm trying to get going here. Yeah, at this point, I'm just going to use pins. Yeah, we can pretty much see it here now. Yeah. This is, yeah, but again, it's going to be, we have to test it. We just have to test it. So if it does collide, you can use the smaller wings to test the concept. Indeed. Indeed. Yeah. I don't know, are those gonna clip? Because if they don't clip, they don't clip, dude. That's hilarious. Oh, I can't press anything. Okay, we're fine. They don't clip. Testing for the win. Nothing about that is what I expected to happen. Nothing about that. Absolutely nothing about that is what I expected. But yes, if they did clip, I could replace them with smaller wings at the sacrifice of less downforce, of course, right? All right, so we just have to test. Let me make this one blue. Here, I'm gonna just color the wings and everything. Brown, blue, dark red, purple. These are a little bit similar. Let's go with like a green. Yeah, there we go. Nope. They're going in the opposite. So the blue hold on. The blue needs to be going opposite. That is hilarious. We like that. We like that a lot. Indeed. As for, yeah, it is like janking a little bit. You can see it's like it's kind of wiggling a little bit. I don't know if it really likes it. Yeah, you can tell it doesn't really like it. Now, if we put even smaller wings on it, yeah, we can't actually position that like that because of the way that the downforce wing has the ring in the center of it. Does it go backwards? It does. I need to switch all of these to control and space. And then we need to start working on the rotation. And then once I have rotational control, we should be good. But the fact that the two in the center, the two diagonals on either side don't collide. No, see how it's janking out? Yeah, it doesn't actually like it. The fact that this flies at all is ridiculous. Ryan, welcome. Yes, 3 long pin is going to be required to use the downforce wing. But what I really want is to use the carbon. I really want to use the carbon wing. And we found, so let's just take another good hard look at what is happening, because I don't, we could, yes, we could use the downforce wing with the 3 pin. But why is it janking out? It's because the diagonals are clipping through one another. By that, what does that look like? That looks like 1 unit, right? About 1 unit. But also, so because they're clipping, they're actually desynchronizing. See how they're all in the center now? That's the diagonal that you cannot see when you're in the build mode. That is what I wanted to see in the build mode. I might get screwdrivers. Seems a little complex, but that is also cool. I mean, it's free. It's definitely worth checking out. 1.5. I think because it's 1.5, we're going to need to widen it out by 1, and that will add 1 in every direction, right? One more unit out. By that I mean this right here is how I had it previously, where this was 1 more over, like this, right? And yes, unfortunately, that means that we need to restructure it, which is fine. That's fine. I think at this point, the proof of concept has been achieved, right? Like, you can clearly, seeing something visual like that makes it just click, you know? Describing something like that is very difficult using words. But therein lies the other problem. If we move it over 1, then we have a double center. We have a, this is the center here. Moro, welcome. Yeah, we were one off. But I don't want to get out of pen and paper, like if I'm being brutally honest. I had fun actually seeing it work, even though it was clipping. I think we just go, do we just go with the double center? I don't think so. I don't like a double center. Nah, I don't like a double center, and then the only other alternative is we shift it over one more. That's the only other alternative. So this is the shortest possible distance that we can obtain without a double center. And we do not want a double center because that makes it very difficult to place anything in the center of mass, given the nature of the fact that we would have to like mirror weights. I just don't want it. I want one point to be the center. I don't want the center to be a square of 4. A 4 square center. Like we don't want that. We don't do that here. We don't accept that here. Yeah, that should be fine. That should be fine. And then we can just use one of these things. Beautiful. Weren't you... Zero, welcome. Weren't you gonna move it 1 in the X and Y? Yes, in essence, yes. That's what we're doing. Because we're also gonna need to move the other one the same distance. Like the mirror, we're gonna need to move 1 over as well. By moving this, we have to move it. By moving it in the, if this is the X, then we have to move it in the Y in order for it to be a mirror, right? Yeah. No, I think the easiest way. Grammy, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, I hope to see you in the future. I appreciate that. Thanks for lurking. I hope you're able to catch plenty of sleep and that tomorrow morning is smooth for you. I think that's the correct distance, right? Because we counted this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? There's a 9 distance separation. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the separation here. So yes, that should be good. How much do the hinge connectors weigh? 2 kilograms? Not so bad. Like only the necessity of the turn connectors when dealing with the pins, what makes them way more. Oh, but yes. So it's gonna be. Wait, hold on. No, we wanted this to be. Hold on. This is gonna be out by how many units is that? 1, 2, 3, right? So we need to translate this over 1. I think this needs to be a 5. Because where this point is going to be at the end of this thing. Yes. That is correct, right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. If you need a 5 long axle, what you have now is 2 blocks too long because you stopped counting 2 blocks too soon. Yes, that I just realized. Yes. Because this translates out 2 more. Yeah. So we had to shorten this by 2 to account for the fact that the actual motor sticks out by 2. And now we just mirror this whole thing. Now it's a simple. I'm pretty sure that this is going to be enough distance. Like we're rapidly approaching having a mirrored setup, given the nature of the center of this thing being a perfect. Like if you want, just that's the center right there. There you go. So if we want to put a weight that we can rotate in order to achieve rotational motion, We can do that without needing to worry about like, oh, there's 4 in the center now. What do I do? Right? But in order to avoid that issue, we had to translate all of these away from one another by 1 more unit. So this distance here is now 3. Where I wanted it to be 1, we were like, okay, now it's colliding, let's make it 2, but then that creates the double center, so we had to rotate it out, separate it out by 3 instead. And as far as this goes, that's the structure. As far as I can tell. Now, ideally, we would have a diagonal connection. Because that would use less material, right? If you look at like a real quadcopter in real life, you just like search quadcopter images, you'll notice that most of them, if not all of them, use some type of diagonal arm to reach the engines. Achieving that in this game takes a lot more pieces. Now, how we're going to be able to get a weight to rotate in the center is going to be interesting. So now I'm going to color all these again. Just because it makes it really easy to tell which one we're looking at. When we test it, right? One thing I wonder is if you can change the rotation direction of a motor by physically flipping it. I think yes, you can, and that's why I was like, both of these things are rotating in the same direction, even though I have one motor set to S as forward and the other motor set to W as forward. Both of them are rotating in the same direction. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you can. And it does make it much more confusing. Okay. So let's figure out what is rotating in the wrong direction. The blue one is rotating in the wrong direction. Why is it rotating in the wrong direction? I don't know. We just flip it. It doesn't matter. We just look at the color and flip it. Boom. Yeah, there you go. We solved it. Ha-ha! Pretty sure this is as close as you can get. If someone else could find a way to get closer than this, I don't think so. I genuinely don't think so. Like, just to be very, very clear, I'll keep it in slow-mo. So the two diagonals are rotating in the same direction. The two perpendiculars are rotating in opposite directions. Right? Bit Gaming, welcome back. What's your highest ranked race? I think it's like top 20 something. Yeah. I think maybe you could get it one closer if you accept the center. The double center. I think that's it. Nine by 11 would be less area. This is currently 9 by 9. Right? So would 9 by 11... This is 11 by 11? Oh, because 5... The rotors are 5, yeah. Wait, no, it's... Oh, no, it's not? Hold on. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4... So this is 5. 6... No, that's 9. This right here, from this point right here to this point right here is 9 distance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Am I like miscounting and being poo brain right now? Like, am I being poo brain? I might be full poo brain right now. I don't know. I am known to have omega poo brain from time to time. Nope, that's a 9 axis. Yeah, this distance right here, this axis is a 9. That's a 9 axis. The distance in between the 2 points is 9. Redson, welcome back. I ran out of coffee. Very sad. We are pretty much there. Yeah. We got it down to a distance of 9 between the 2 points. Now, could we bring it down to 8? Very possible. But then we suffer from there are multiple things. We suffer from a center point, and then also you run into weird things like there is no 8 beam. So depending on how you modify it, like, yeah. I joked like we don't do that here. We don't do quadruple centers. We don't do that here. We deal with absolute centers here. One unit center. Yeah, so this thing is clean. I just need to figure out how to get rotation. And we've done it before. I'll figure it out again. I don't know if that can actually be... Yeah, we may have to do something like this. And then we do something like... No, that's going to be tough no matter how I do it. Interesting problem to solve. All right, time to default to how did we do it with this thing? This is how we did it with the last iteration. Now the problem is you can't do it like this because we also need to maintain the connection. And given the fact that this is the only point that it's connected at, that's a problem. Now, could I connect it here and here, like on every side to make it a square? Maybe. That would be a shorter connection point. Like overall, if we're trying to be as clean as possible, and we're trying to wash away the poo brain, this is probably going to be a cleaner way to connect it. We must absolve ourselves of the poo brain. But then we run into the same problem, right? Like, if we connect these two things, there's no engine that has two pegs on either side. Zero, welcome back. Damn asymmetrical engines. Well, the beautiful thing is that it's a perfect mirror, right? On the diagonal. So if you look at the diagonal, they are perfectly mirrored. So nothing here is asymmetrical, depending on how you look at it, right? Now, there's only one engine where we can actually get through the engine. Well, no, it's a similar issue, and you can't put pegs through the turbo vaults. Like, we're gonna need to know, we can't. I need to connect it on every point. We need to connect it on every point so that we can have like some type of arm that reaches it. Like, I'm just gonna do it so we can just do it. Let's just do it so we can just do it. There you go. That's what I want. Now, how to connect this to this? Good luck. We're gonna need to figure out. We're gonna need to figure out another connection, and that's gonna be difficult. What's your specs? My computer hardware specs, if that's what you're asking about, are in the description of the video. I believe I list... I don't think I got rid of that, right? No, yeah. All of my hardware specs are in the description of the video. What if you use that green electric engine? You could make the wingspan smaller. I would love to see that. Please. Trust, if you can do it. Because the only way that I've found is either to make the center a square, 2 by 2, which we don't do that here. We don't do that here. Or the wings clip together in the diagonal. And yes, we know we could use, we're not going to use anything other than the carbon wing. Carbon wing is a requirement. Is a requirement. Making the wingspan smaller does not seem possible. It does not actually seem possible. Someone manages to do it, that'd be amazing. But you would either have to make them out of like different levels, maybe. But we don't do that here either. We don't do that here. Because yes, if we made them different levels, then we wouldn't need to worry about them hitting each other at all. But then that would look like some abomination jank. Yeah, I'm gonna think on this. I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Trying to explain this via short text is quite a pain. Yeah. That's why I just like test stuff and demonstrate it. Because as for when it gets to like asymmetry, like this kind of design or pretty much any design, visual demonstration is a beautiful thing. Just to make it like even clearer, these are the same. These are the same. Those, the black and orange, are exactly the same. They're exactly the same. Like you can see that, right? You can use a 11 long beam to connect two motors, attach the center motor to that, and then run axles to the other two. I do know what you mean. A beam would give us many that open option, right? That would make sense. Instead of bringing it up arbitrarily, I think it would make it simpler, and overall there would be like less pieces. So it's definitely possible. Now, the other problem becomes it's not really a problem. I mean, kind of a problem. I don't know if I really care. But then, alas, we still run into the issue of the fact that these motors are not symmetrical. And if we go back to this, that is why this is not symmetrical, right? Like it's just an arm that leads into that, and then the connections are made at each corner. That's why we don't need to worry about it going through it, right? I think, as far as I can tell, when it comes to making this as symmetrical as possible, that's all we got. Like, we are limited by the fact that there is no engine in the game that is symmetrical. So I'll accept that. That's fine. Now, as for the rotors, do we have enough space to do this the way I want to do it? I don't know. We'll find out. I think so. Instead of having it stick down, just have it in the center. How much does that affect your center of mass? Negligible. But it doesn't feel too good, right? Like you look at this thing, it doesn't feel that good. You're like, why isn't there an electric motor that has pegs on either side of it? I don't know. It would make it more stable, right? I don't know. That's just the way it is. That should be good now. So as for Q and E, oh weird, look how it rotates the blade slightly. Yeah, this works perfectly fine. Exactly what we want. Now we just need to bind that to spacebar and control, and then we should be good. The only thing is we may have to reverse the Q and E rotation, depending. You can rotate the whole build by 90 degrees by using 4 if the lateral asymmetry is annoying. Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. But don't you mean 45 degrees, not 90? If you rotate it 90 degrees, you're still going to just get the same exact thing. Do you mean 45 degrees? Like, this is what 45-degree rotation looks like. I can't do it now that we have it bound to spacebar. All right, let's just check the rotation. It does rotate in the correct direction. But now we're running into, like, weird handling issues. The proof of concept is proven. That is okay. So as far as like direction goes, oh, I know what you mean in terms of the beams. Yeah. But in that case, I mean, if we really, so if the arrows on the ground are forward, then I can just rotate the motors. Right? Like that's not a problem. Yeah. That's not yeah, if we want forward to be yeah. We can do that. Yeah, we can do that. That's fine. They need to make like a red and green side on the yeah. They need a red and green side on all of the electric motors. Figuring out the handling jank is going to be the final touch on this build. Just press 4 or 6. Oh, that is amazing. That was nowhere in the tutorial, and I appreciate you telling me that. Also, there are no control, there's no control settings. So the developers need to seriously like add that. F1? Okay, yes. Flip vehicle, F1, in the top right. It does show the controls in the top right. Previously I went to settings. Typically controls are in the settings. Yeah. But that is very good to know. Far top right of the screen is a little bit innocuous. All right, we'll try this again. But yes, we could have just pressed 4 or 6 to flip the whole thing. Also, flip isn't the correct term. It's you're rotating. All right. Because we changed the colors, both of the orange ones are going in the wrong directions. So it doesn't matter. The UI is actual crap. Yeah, they need to seriously work on that. But the game is early access. So yeah, that is the correct. No, it's not. It's backwards. If this is forwards, this is at the rear of the vehicle. Yeah. Q goes to the left, E goes to the right. We can put some fins on it. I don't know if it's going to really help with the... We'll see what it does with the handling. It did help the previous iteration. But yeah, making the fins symmetrical is very important. Yeah, that definitely feels better. Let me just check the... Yeah, that's correct. As far as the rotation goes, I think making this a bigger weight should let it rotate more. Now I just need to bring this back. Now that everything is in order. Yeah, another thing about the UI is the color picker. Like this, it absolutely like scrolling through each individual color. Just let me click on it and give me a box to select from. Selection box. Like colors are visual. So having a visual box that you can select from is what you're gonna want. Yes, that is correct. Are downward and upward, like pitching up and down, is difficult. I can turn, but angling down takes a long time. But yeah, rotation is perfectly fine now. Using the larger weight. Ligma, welcome back. The coloring being the same mode as changing things like steering and settings is also a design decision of all time. Yes, a design decision of all time. Early access, by the way. I'm pressing W right now, trying to pitch down. Very slow. I don't like it. We are learning, I think, the reason why. When you make if you look at a quadcopter in real life, my ability to pitch down while I'm not accelerating is amazing. Yeah, now I'm reversed. If you look at a quadcopter in real life, there's a reason why the motors, the fans, are spaced out, right? There's a reason why they're not right next to each other. You can't even achieve this in real life because fan blades will eventually desynchronize for many different reasons. And if these fan blades were to desynchronize for any reason, they would collide with one another and the whole thing would break. But yes, the pitching up and down is not good. And I'm certain it's because of the fin locations, which is making me think that we need to extend these out. Oh, that's interesting. Wait, can I do this? Nope. You can get a hinge connector right next to the engine. I wonder, maybe having fins just on one side, like on the back. Try that. Oh, weird. Now I can pitch back really well. But going forward, I'm pressing W, nothing is happening. But when I press S, we're good. So that's pretty funny. I get that. I get that. Yeah, there we go. Now we have pitch up and pitch down. There you go. That's pretty much it. That's what I was looking for. So as for how the magical energy in this game works, when you add shark fins, you just get turning, because turning good and shark fin give turning. Shark fin good. We like shark fin. Shark fin give turning. Turning more better when shark fin placed further away from center of mass, because turning good and turning is more better. That is the explanation I have for that. That is my explanation. As for like aerodynamically, it makes no sense. That's why I'm like joking around. If you're wondering why I'm saying words really good, it's because I'm joking. And it doesn't make any sense. We're simply exploiting the physics engine in this game to give us as much maneuverability as possible. That makes all of the no sense. Yes. This thing is feeling pretty good though. Like, it is on the workshop. I have been uploading it. Our left and right maneuverability is limited, and I suspect that's because we put all of the shark fins in a line. I would like more left and right maneuverability. But it's feeling better than the previous Mayfly. Like, I'll say that much. Like, we are upon the Mayfly Mark III. And I suspected I may have been able to eke out a Mark III, which is rare. It's rare. Like, typically when I have an idea, I go with it, and I'm like, oh, this is a cool idea, let's try it. And then I just, like, can't improve upon it, right? So it's cool to be able to, like, take an idea and improve upon it. And when it comes to the engines, like the actual powertrain of the motors in this thing, I really do think we achieved something very interesting by rotating the whole beam. Like, if you look at the engines on this thing, we are rotating the entire beam. The hinge connectors, if you pay really close attention on this thing, are not rotating, even though they're connected to an axis. Even though even though they're connected to an axis through a beam directly to a planetary gear, which is connected directly to a motor, it doesn't rotate. As to why, that is a serious thing that the developers need to think about. But it feels good. Like this thing feels good. I need to think about how to add more wings. Nope, doesn't like that. I don't think it'll mind that so much. There is no forebeam in the game. We do accept and acknowledge that. I wonder if weight build area affects the amount of magical force you get in for maneuvering. Well, the area, the distance between the shark fins definitely has an effect. The distance from the center of mass specifically increases your magical force quite a bit. Okay, so yes, I have very good forward and back. We need... That did not help as much. And honestly, I'm wondering if any of those in the center are even helping. At that point, I'm just going to use... Yeah, because so the shark fins are 3Y, right? There's definitely a better way to do that. I really think that... I really think we just do this. Now, yes, it adds more weight, but whatever. All right, that might help our yaw. Or not our yaw, our pitch. Our yaw would technically be our rotation, right? Like when it comes to like a helicopter. Our pitch is... How much do these weigh? 3 kilograms? Our pitch is like the WASD. The yaw is the Q and E in this case. That might help. Because now we're just fine-tuning Yeah, see that? Now we're just fine-tuning the pitch. It's like, oh, why do you have all those shark fins? Well, it's because it lets me turn really well. Why does it let me turn really well? I don't know, but we're adding more of them because we like to be able to turn really well. That's pretty much it. And the farther away from the center of mass they are, the more turning we get. That's good. That's why I had to stick those fins out on the sides, because to get away from the center of mass, we had to build them out to the sides. Did you try to replace all of your beams with connector and axle? Yeah. Yeah, there is a way maybe to do that. And yes, I do know that, yes. But we ran into a very particular problem earlier in the stream where we were unable to connect the center rotation around the center of axis, center of mass, due to the fact that we were using connectors and axles. So we had to use a beam because the engines needed to be connected, this needed to be connected, and the way that it all lined up didn't work so well. Yeah, I want those to be like directly in line with the center of mass. So they're about they are about half the weight. You are correct about that. They are exactly half the weight based on the length. As for weight, given our unconventional method of propulsion, I'm not concerned about it. And yes, like, given this design, we did try. So I know how to make sure that we don't break it by adding more planetary gears. But what that would effectively require based on this design is adding it before the engine. So like we would need to move the engines down more, and then that makes the whole thing taller. One thing we could try to do in terms of like pushing the design a little bit further no, it doesn't like that. Hold on. There's a way. Yeah, right? So these are opposite, flipped. So one is providing downforce, the other one is providing downforce, right? Now, here's the thing though. Can we just do this then? Yeah. The effectiveness is 94%, right? Now, here's the thing with the wings, though. If you do them upside down, they don't provide as much downforce. Doesn't that just even out? No, because this, if this is going to the left, right? We're looking at this in such a way that this is going to be going to the left on screen. If this is going to the left, then the air is getting pushed into it and then down, right? This would even out. This is what would even out. Right? Yeah, this would even out. I'm pretty sure it is a little bit weird to think about, but I think maybe you could do this. Now, we're going to need to do it to every single fan blade in order to test whether it actually increases the performance. And if I had to guess, I don't think it's going to have the increase to performance that we think it will. But I'll try. Like I've flown this thing enough now that I think that if we make a change like this, I'll know. Yeah. I uploaded the smaller version. Cool. What do you call it? I'd love to see it. Because we could modify this. What width and length did you get it to be then? I'm glad that I'm inspiring thought into quadcopter build. My builds were inspired by another quadcopter build on the workshop. That might work. We'll see. Nah, yeah, it doesn't really help that much. Yeah, so we tried. The thing that's, I mean, if we're being honest, the thing that's going to help is another planetary gear, right? Like, if we really think about the way that the game is, like, why are we being limited in terms of acceleration? It's due to the max RPM of the electric motor. 9x9? Yeah, ours is 9x9. I don't think you can get smaller than 9x9 because otherwise the carbon wings clip unless you figured out a way to get both of the wings to be tighter in the center. But as far as I've found, we'll check it out. Let me just go back to this. I am interested. Definitely interested. Yeah, this thing is highly maneuverable now in the air. Yeah, that that is definitely feeling like a step. So we determined that the shark fins are the thing that are the shark fins are what is giving us the magical turning energy. Beautiful. All right, that's gonna get saved, uploaded. Mini drone V1. Okay, I'll check it out. We're in quadcopter drone territory now. Indeed, yes. So you used gears to get around the you used gears to get around the bug associated with the planetary gears. Yes. Nice. Indeed, indeed. See, you have to use this gear, right? Zero, thank you for the $1.49 tip. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Very much appreciated. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. But yes, this does look more compact. No, this is the same size. This is the same size. Wait, is it? No, you're using a 9 beam. Yes, so the distance between these two is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yes, you did get it down by 2. Nice. Now, my question is, how do the fan blades not clip in the center? This is going to be interesting. Oh, that's crazy. So that is the distance. So the 7 beam. Yeah. Yeah, the gear is necessary because of the bug in the game. Yes. Very cool. So that is as close as you can get it confirmed. 7 by 7. Where there is a 7-unit distance between each rotor center. Yes. Very cool. And the Igen core does provide more force. Very nice. As to how do you map the, hold on. So interesting. How do you map this? So, oh, that's so D and A is the left. D and A is the left analog stick on my controller, and then these are S and W. But then why is the whole thing not pitching forward the whole time I'm holding the controller down? The sound of this. Oh, that's beautiful. Nice. Yeah, what would make this more controllable are shark fins, for sure. But yeah, that's this right here. The reason why you can't just do direct, right? Just to make it very clear, the reason why you can't just shift this over here is because it just wouldn't work, right? And that is That is exactly why, with my build, my design, I use this beam with the axis going into the hinge connector, which doesn't rotate, to rotate this entire beam around this axis, which doesn't actually rotate beams in the game at all. So your first flying vehicle, nice. That's a very good one. The only way to get rid of that mosquito high-pitched sound that I know of is to use the electric engines. But your control scheme, I may try your control scheme. Because I've said it before, like I'm using WASD to pitch, right? But that's so interesting to me because you're using W for acceleration, and then you're using D and A for rotation. And that somehow works on the controller to let me use my left stick to rotate. That's very interesting. Let me see if that even works. Yeah, it does. I'm using my left stick now to rotate. And then I can use my right stick to maneuver in the air. That's amazing. Why that works, I don't know. I don't know. Wait, hold on. What happens if I press W then? Wait, hold on. Yeah, see? If I press, this is jank, dude. They need to add control mapping. Jank. When I press W, it makes me pitch forward on my keyboard, right? While I accelerate. I have these mapped to W right now. I have them mapped to W right now. And then when I use my controller, my right trigger, look at this. Boom. No pitching at all. I'm just holding controller, right trigger right now. The fact that it automatically, it doesn't make any sense. They need to add control mapping. That's one of the features that they, like, as far as the roadmap goes in this game, they don't need to worry about multiplayer modes. Like, don't spend time on this. Like, they need to add more very core, like, quality of, I wouldn't even consider that quality of life. That's just jank. That's just early access jank. Like, what? I press W, this happens on my keyboard. These are mapped to W, by the way. These are mapped to W. And then I press right trigger on my controller, and this happens. What? It makes no sense. But I appreciate that, Trust. Thank you for demonstrating a different way of... This is backwards. The fact that you can use this control scheme with the controller is awesome. Checking the numpad in air controls should fix that. Okay, I'll check that out. Because what this lets me do is this. See that? See how I'm like slowing the blades down, but not stopping them? See that? See how we're lowering our acceleration, but we're not stopping? Ha 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 ha. That's pretty awesome. I like that. Yes, Trust. That is a very cool design. I love the zen-like sound of the low RPM electric engines. I wish that for everyone on the entire planet. I wish the zen-like sound of the low RPM electric engines for everyone. This thing is very, very maneuverable. Like, very, very maneuverable. I'm probably not doing a good job of demonstrating it, but you can kind of see it, right? As for me being a good flyer, like actually being able to fly things well, I'm not. Somebody who would fly this thing, who's really good at flying quadcopters, would, I think, have a very good time. The gas engines did have more speed, yes, but at what cost, though? At what cost? Do we want the sound of a mosquito in our ear constantly? They need to make a shark fin that just has one peg in the center. Like, please. Did you get all colors? No, we're 99%. And we've touched upon this in the past. Am I going to go through the map and slowly, methodically ensure that I've collected every single one? No, we're not going to do that. We're going to accept that 99% because we are early access pioneers. That is why we're going to accept that 99%. I embrace that 99%. We are early access pioneers. And that is how I know. There's an option to turn down just engine sounds, but that would make the game pretty silent. Oh, true. Indeed, indeed. Let's see if that... Yeah, it makes it silent, yes. That is good. We do like that. But then the problem is you miss out on the beautiful sound of the low RPM electric engine. The low, beautiful hum that you hear right now. I think they did make it so you can turn down the engine. Yes, yeah. When you're dealing with aircraft in this game, and you use a combustion engine, it puts the engine into like extremely high RPM, and it's akin to a mosquito being directly inside of your ear, if you ever had that happen. It's not a pleasant sound, which is another just, you know, strong indication of early access and potentially the fact that the developers never intended for people to make aircraft with combustion engines the way they do. It's pretty great. But yeah, this thing feels pretty good. Like, the ability to pitch is very good. Compared to the Mayfly Mark II, the roll speed, the pitch speed, it definitely feels... And I really like being able to hover like that. Like, being able to use the controller, thanks to Trust for showing me that I can actually map the keys differently. that is beautiful. We do enjoy that a lot. Now, yes, as for going for like super high speeds and stuff, that's not my intention. I could do like another planetary. We could do another gear ratio. I'm not too interested in that. Yeah, as for getting used to rotating it with the left analog stick, that's gonna take some more time. But no doubt, using analog, there's a reason why they don't fly quadcopters with keyboard and mouse. There's a reason why. That fine-tuned control of, say, being able to do like 20% throttle, like you can't do that with a keyboard. Keyboard is purely on or off state. That's it. And that's why a lot of people use controllers for driving, racing games, flying games, so on and so forth. You just can't get that with a controller. So while I'm flying this thing, it definitely feels better to be using my controller. The primary reason I used my keyboard and mouse before is because I firmly believe there was no way to get rotation while using my controller, because there's no key mapping in the game. But yes, that is that. As for our Mark III, Mayfly Mark III quadcopter build, let's copy and paste that over. And then I'm gonna add my necessary YouTube plug, which I can add after the fact. I don't think it, yeah, I'll add it later. Like made live at JCrown. I do want to refine this build as well. Our propeller car. I've seen several things in this design that could definitely benefit from some refinement. There's keyboard with analog WSA, but I think they're 500. Yeah, it's very odd. Oh, let me, that controller scheme that I actually put in the description of this. Wait, what? Hold on, did it not update? Because the control scheme is actually different. Yeah. I just copied and pasted that, and it's not actually the same. Yeah, okay, it didn't actually update. That's good. I'm adding a description to it. Controller should work fine. But you can change the motors based in yeah, so given the nature of the control scheme, I had to like put a disclaimer on the thing that controller should work fine, but you can change the motors to work with keyboard if you want. There you go. Would you say controller support is necessary? This game has controller support. My controller, I mean, you saw me flying this earlier. Like, I'm flying it with my controller. The problem is not so much like the controller support. It's the fact that there's no key mapping. Like, I can't remap WASD and all that. So that's the problem. And ideally, I wouldn't be pitching with my right controller. I think ideally I would pitch with my left controller. My left analog stick, I mean. Yeah. So that's definitely something that, like, they need to... Yeah, and like manual gear shift with period and comma. Like, what? How am I gonna click period and comma while I'm WASD? Like, with my thumb? I guess with my right hand, yeah. But then if I want to control the camera with the mouse, it's tough. But that's the thing. You add a very robust set of options to program whatever keys you want into the game, no matter what control scheme you want to use, and then you don't have to worry about it. Yeah. And then definitely more camera options. Like, there some serious... I checked the Discord for this game quite a bit. And yes, like camera options, control remapping, like those are very core features that should be added to the game. But it is early access, so it gets a pass. It gets a pass. It's barely labeled early access. But yes, I'm gonna leave it here. I've been streaming for almost just over 2 hours. I think as far as screwdrivers goes, my live streams for screwdrivers are going to be very like goal focused. Like, we set out to build this thing and refine the Mayfly Mark II. We did it. Now, as for the Whirlwind Mark I, there are several things I can do to refine this build, and I will do that in the future. But I am going to leave the stream here for now. If you've been enjoying my live streams, please consider liking and subscribing, and I will be on in the future. Thank you.